touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Hey, till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Hey, till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Hey, till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Hey, till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Hey, till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping.
You remember the year 1787, don't you? You don't? Bruh. Well, let me tell you about it. Back in 1787, the political elites of the United States were trying to decide whether to adopt a brand new constitution. But some were like, I don't know, man. It looks kind of sus. Mostly, many were skeptical of it because it seemingly gave the federal government a bunch more power. So, three dudes, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay, decided to write 85 spicy op-eds to convince everyone to calm down and say yes to the Constitution. They used the pen name Publius, likely after Publius Valerius, another dude who helped start the Roman Republic back in the day. The essays argued stuff like why we need a stronger federal government, why representative democracy is way better than a direct democracy, why checks and balances are awesome, and why a big country can still be a united country. Hamilton wrote 51 of these bad boys. Madison wrote 29. Jay, just 5. Oh, Jay. Hey, I got sick and injured, buddy. Well, the Federalist Papers must have worked because the Constitution ended up getting adopted after all. Today, the Federalist Papers are still one of the best sources we have for not only understanding what the framers of the Constitution were thinking, but for understanding American political thought, man.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into it tonight. That's for sure. This is one of the subjects that I've always wanted to go over because it's always talked about as like, they want to know more about it, but they never get a chance to talk about it because, this was well before the Constitution. But we're going to get into it tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you joining us from Timcast, how you guys doing? I'm AK, your favorite guy. Welcome to Roman Nation. And tonight, we're going to go over some of the stories that we missed in this busy week in news. All right. Then finally, we're going to talk about, you guessed it, the Federalist Papers. So sit back and relax as Roman Nation starts now.
I'm hiding, I'll be so lonely. I'm hiding, I'll be so lonely.
Biddy,
What's up?
going on?
How you doing? I'm excited about this show because I wanted to learn. I'm one of those people. I want to learn more about the Federalist Papers, so I'm here to learn. The pupil is ready, good sir.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, it's so important to the history of our country that everybody doesn't just know the Constitution and their laws, but how exactly did we get here?
Yep.
Right? And how our republic has been able to stand for, I guess now 250 years going on. So,
Yeah.
this
was an experiment. It was they were trying to see if something like this could actually work. They finally, cut the umbilical cord from the British, and they were like, all right, now what are we going to do with this place?
Exactly.
What is the vision? Yeah.
Always imitated, never duplicated. Now, of course, let's go ahead and move on. But first, go to riseofmiddleamerica.com and check out our lineup of podcasts from history to news, pop culture, and true crime. We have a show for all your needs. There's all of our ugly faces as of Muppets. Every time I see T-Bone,
we just leave it there. We're like, yeah.
Leave T-Bone's face up there for a little bit. See what happens.
I love it. Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, so you can always join our Discord as well, where all the magic for Roman Nation unfolds. Want to be a podcast host, producer, researcher, or writer? This is your launch pad. You can hit us up at the top of the page with all of our socials. And also, there's the Roman Nation Network merch. If you guys want to help us out, keep the lights on, let's go. Because we got some, actually, let me see if I can get in here. If it's going to let me. Yes. Oh, man, we got the new Facts and Smash shirts.
Yeah, I know. That's the first one I've seen. I'm excited about that.
And then this was my new favorite, the Weaponize Your Autism.
I know. I love the colors, too. Like the color scheme is so sick.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this is something you could really rock. You can like put together with like a whole outfit. I'm sorry, I'm girling out, you know.
Oh no, absolutely. Dude, I thought my hat was nice. Your hat is.
This is fire. And my husband has the one with the teal.
Oh, he's got the teal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, lucky him. I thought this one was the teal, and then when I got this one, I was like, oh man. But no, actually
it looks good.
It fits right in. You know, fits right in with my American flag t-shirt. You know? Gotta represent.
Oh yeah.
So guys,
it's the best way. It's the best way to support your channel because then you get to rock something.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so please like, comment, and subscribe where you never miss a beat. Hit that notification button. Now, thank you, Tim Poole from Timcast IRL. Give him my first raid.
Yes,
My
thank
goodness,
you.
This feels so good. I mean, I've been part of his Discord. I think almost 2 years now that I've been there.
Wow.
You know? Yeah, and I remember when I started out as just a regular $10 member, and then I moved up to 25. And then before I joined the Discord, this is where I came up with the idea for Roman Nation. But I was like, how am I going to get this out to the public?
Right.
Like, what can I do? So I decided to use the Timcast Discord on Saturday nights to run sort of like test shows to see how it went. I mean, obviously the first couple were absolutely dreadful. I mean,
oh my God, audio issues is always, no matter what, you know. But it, you know, the great thing about the Discords is you get so many loyal folks that show up, and you know they'll point it out. They'll be like, can't hear you." But you know they'll stay and they'll wait and they'll chill, and we'll have like a little meme war in the chat while everything is getting situated.
Oh, it's hilarious.
You know. But that's the great thing. That's what Tim built, and it branched out. Now look at everything that it's creating. You know, the Quiet Part podcast, Roman Nation, like that's what it's all about.
Tyler Today News, he's out there. What else? Who's the gaming? Oh my God, he's gonna kill me. Oh, it's Duke's server.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
right.
Jamcast. Yeah, Jamcast came. Well, I don't think it came out of there, but it definitely grew in there. He got all of his devs from there. So
yeah, I mean, you think about these communities, right? They're basically like you want like-minded people, you know, people that you'll debate with, of course, not like zombies. You all march to the same thing, and that's not the case. But you know, kind of like-minded where you all want the same end game for everybody.
Absolutely.
Just how you get there is like a different story. But then, you know, once we fix the culture, hopefully, you know, we're getting there where things are turning around a bit and we're seeing the other side. What do you do once you get there? There's got to be some post-cancel culture society.
Hey, pulled it out.
You know, no, but really, you know, we got to go back to normal. We got to enjoy life again. That's what this is all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's time. So let's rant. All right, so let's go over the one of the biggest stories that were missed on Monday. So we've got the Central Texas floods. Now, this has been happening for the last couple of weeks, and I mean, absolutely devastating some of these areas.
Yeah.
So this is from Wiki. July 2025, destructive and deadly flooding took place in Texas Hill County, particularly in Kerr County in the U.S. state of Texas. During the floodwaters, water levels along the Guadalupe River rose rapidly. As a result, at least 145 fatalities have been confirmed as of July 17th, which was yesterday, of which at least 116 are in Kerr County, and about 102 people are still reported missing. The flood was caused by, what is this?
Mesoscale vortex. My goodness. Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Say that 3 times fast.
I can't even say it once.
With enhanced tropical moisture and remnants of Tropical Storm Barry, a short-lived Atlantic tropical cyclone, and remnant tropical moisture from Eastern Pacific. This was, I mean, it was really, really bad.
Yeah, these floods are different. I'm sorry, whatever you want to say about what I'm saying. There's something that's really revved up about all these floods. There's something really crazy because the way that it rose so fast, like so quickly, how would you even give people the right? I mean, there's some speculation as to what went on there about, when they gave the warnings and this and that, but also I think it also came really fast. It rose really fast where a lot of people didn't have a choice. They had to just ride their homes down the river.
Exactly. Did you see that time lapse video of it was like a road that went in between two mountains, and
Oh no.
water coming in within 30 minutes, it rose from 0 to 36 feet or something crazy like that.
Oh my gosh. No, I seen one where I hope it's the same thing, because you see a bunch of videos, people just pull things from. I didn't look it up, so don't quote me. But I seen something where it was like the water was flushing it, and those railings that you see on the side of a highway that are, it was pulling the whole thing out of the floor and flinging it along with the weight. I was like, I mean, like that. It was like it was nothing. I mean, the water pressure is real. You see people trying to get saved, and the people that are trying to save them need saving, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get. I mean, the person's right there in the middle, but you can't get them out. It's just terrifying.
Yeah, C2 Gaming says it does happen on average each year. 1,000 to 1,600 people die worldwide due to flash floods. I'm actually surprised. I'm actually surprised that number's that low. I would think that there are some areas in the world that are susceptible to this. Especially in Central America, South America.
Maybe they're just categorized differently.
Right.
Like tsunamis or what do you call the other, like mudslides? They will go into different categories depending on the terrain, depending on the cause, I guess.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, this is a very unfortunate situation, and I feel bad, especially with the kids at the camp. My thoughts and prayers go out to them, and I especially the ones that they still haven't found yet. I hope they do, get the answers that they need and get the help that they deserve.
Absolutely. Just pray for them, you guys, because pray for the strength for these families, because if you believe in heaven, everything, like you'll say, like these kids, these people are in a better life. It's the families that are left behind that are suffering. So just pray for their comfort, pray for them to be eased, and able to get through it.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to DC. This is from NPR. This is on Tuesday, July 14th. 24 states sue Trump admin to unfreeze more than $6 billion in education grants. A coalition of 24 states in the District of Columbia sued the Trump administration on Monday over the administration's decision to freeze more than $6 billion in federal education grants for K-12 schools and adult education. The move comes 2 weeks after Trump administration first notified states that it was withholding the previous approved funds. Quote, with no rhyme or reason, the Trump administration abruptly froze billions of dollars in education funding just weeks before the start of the school year. California Attorney General Rob Bonita said in a press conference Monday, the U.S. Education Department is one of the defendants named in the lawsuit, has not responded to a request for comment. Other states that joined the lawsuit include New York, Colorado, Massachusetts, Arizona, Kentucky, Pennsylvania. I guess the usual suspects. Well, some of them are. Go ahead.
I got an idea. Why don't these the presidents of these universities, why don't they take a pay cut for the good of the students? Why don't they figure out, where not to blow the money that they get from every angle? The government, people who pay out of the nose for these places. Like, why don't you maybe lower the prices a little bit, and then everybody will be able to afford it? It's not really that expensive. You guys are it just inflated as time went on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of this has to do with they want to push this back to the states. More importantly, they want to push this back to the local governments and the communities, right? Because not every community is the same when it comes to education.
That's true.
And it's very difficult to have this one size fits all approach, in which is where we were. I mean, we were streamlining into that, our government coming into the 2010s, where they think that just one thing's going to solve everybody's problems. No, this entire country in every state is different. I mean, well, I wouldn't say every state. I would say more regionalized, right?
Yeah.
when you go down to the south, you have more agricultural based economies. You go to the north, you have more, tech and finance, things like that. You go to the west, and you've got, weed.
Weed and palm trees.
Weed and palm trees, right?
Or the same. Yeah, no, that's true. There, in any of these things, there's always a nuance to everything. I think the problem is, what's up, Funk Master? Thank you.
Master General. Yeah, this guy's been, he's one of my new favorite guys to talk to here.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Good man. How you doing?
But yeah, I think that the biggest problem, a lot of people, I mean, in my humble opinion, I don't want to sound like whatever, but like, I think the biggest problem is like, people always think there's always a right, like a perfectly, like, this is the answer for this. And it's definitely not any of that other stuff, or it's always one way or the other way. There's never any kind of sprinkled anything in that you should consider. So that is true. I think that like a lot of areas, more rural areas will need different kinds of resources than areas that, you have a lot of trains and buses and all this other kind of stuff to get to and from school. How you commute and whatnot, and what the classes look like, how many kids are in these classes, so on and so forth, and what they have to do in those different programs. But yeah, and I think that's the whole point, is like, we need to, everything that he's done as far as like taking funds away. I mean, not everything, because like the USAID stuff is like a different thing, but it was kind of like, all right, let's just like chill for a second. Let's just like time out. Like, stop the flow of money. Let's just figure out, like, what do we actually need? Is this really necessary? What, are you using this? What did you use this for? Can you give me a report? What do you look for a trajectory of this year of how much you're going to spend? Is it reasonable? Why? Like, how about we kind of manage the money a little bit better? I mean, we are in freaking debt. I mean, isn't that what you would do in your own household? Like, it just seems like a no-brainer.
Well, here's the thing. Like, debt is okay, as long as it's going towards something that's going to benefit us in the future, right? It's going to build something that's going to create
like
more revenue. It's an investment, right?
Right.
But if the investment's going into nothing, then all of a sudden we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs, wondering why, our groceries are so high, or why gas is going.
Yeah, and how many people got grants and stuff for programs or different degrees and whatnot that, like, you're not going to really use that in the real world, like gender studies and all that other kind of stuff. Like, how many of that happened? Especially when those programs don't exist in a lot of these corporations anymore. So it's like, like the DEI stuff, like how many people have like a master's in equity? I don't know. Like, I don't even know what the program would be called, but like, like, how do you really hold somebody down so they can't move any further away from you? So you want to grab on the back of the shirt with firmness. Don't let go. You're right. Right. Tomorrow we'll talk about if they get away from you, just kick them a little bit.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, so let's move on to Wednesday, July 15th. Good Trouble lives on. Let's take a look.
These nationwide protests were organized by some of the same groups that put together the No Kings rallies last month. The crowds today smaller than those demonstrations, but no less vocal.
Chicago, get in the way!
In Daly Plaza, a moment of defiance.
Demand a complete reversal of policies that are harming working families in your communities.
This rally, one of hundreds nationwide, meant as a call for resistance and change in the face of the Trump administration's cuts in federal aid, stepped up ICE enforcement and use of the military, and other actions these protesters say are an assault on civil liberties.
Every day there's something different. Every day there's something bad that goes on. We think it's going to get worse, and it does.
I wake up in disbelief.
It's almost like you almost like you see these people and like, this is exactly what a person that would be talking about this would look like.
Just like miserables.
Every single one.
Yeah, I mean, guys, come on. Like, do you think that we're gonna be able to continue the way we were going? Like, did you really think that was gonna be all right? Like, you can't. How many people live in this world? 8 billion people. How many people probably want to come here on the daily? Probably like maybe half that. Are you gonna just everybody all at the same time? Come on, let's go. Let's see if we can get you in, like, without having to move. No, you can't. You have to, and you're doing a disservice to them as well by inviting them here with under false pretenses. You got to have some kind of setup for everybody. You got to make it so that way, they can get assimilated properly and, give them a chance to
fun
apply for jobs. Yeah. Listen, I live in one of those sanctuary cities and I'm telling you, defund, because it's insane. It's not fair. It's like they hold the rest of the country hostage with whatever policies they wish to enact, no matter how crazy they are.
Well, not only that, but like, I'm trying to figure out, like, where are they getting all this money to do all this stuff? Right? Because
the laundromat.
Because I thought the Democratic Party was broke.
They always seem to be. They're always, asking for money and putting the donation button. And, they were broke after Kamala's campaign race. They spent all that money. What was it, like $20 billion on Beyonce? No, I'm kidding. But they, like on just her.
No, I mean, Beyonce made out like a bandit. My goodness. Oprah?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because you would think that, like, you would have these types of people, that are the faces of society to say something other than, hey, we need your support. It's like, well, wait a minute. What do you need my support for? You're the one with the money.
Right.
So
right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, because Oprah and The Rock, remember with the Maui fires, they got such a bad backlash from that. That was really, really bad. Like, people were mocking that video, people were pissed, and at the time everybody was really, when everything was getting cracked down, like where people couldn't, buy things, go to the store, people's, businesses were closing down and everything, and they were like, are they talking to us?
Yeah,
what? Like, what?
Me?
Yeah. No, but it's crazy too, because like, we have a problem when it comes to politicians and not being able to kind of level the playing field because of this whole, like, throwing money at these candidates and their ability to raise money and whatnot. I think that's like a big hindrance on us. So, like, if you're a celebrity and you're already like a millionaire and you have the audacity to come out and pound your fists and tell everybody they need to go vote and they need to support this person, why wouldn't you just eat it? Why don't you just do the interview for free? Why don't you just come and appear for free? Like, I'm not saying like I'm forcing, like, it sounds like I'm forcing somebody to like work for free or whatever, but it's like, why don't you? And why would you take away from the funds that are needed?
Well, of course, because
like, if you really think it's like the end of our country if this person doesn't get in, sorry,
like tax write-offs or something.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Vashnik said, if we get 1,000 likes, I'll shave my head.
Oh yes, this has been going on for a minute.
Everybody, like this right now. Like,
please.
share everywhere. I want to see his ass bald.
It'd be great too, because he's about to start his show. That'd be crazy.
Well, that's right. Yeah, he's about to start the Fringe.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
I'm excited about that.
Show. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to try to get that show up next week. I'll tell you, he's got a lot to talk about. So.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
He's like, lol.
What's lol?
It's a fancy way of saying LOL.
Oh, lol.
That's funny.
I'm such a boomer.
All right, so this is from yesterday. We got the European heat wave. So let's take a look.
Another summer, another heat record broken in Europe. Temperatures surpassed June records in Spain on Saturday, hitting 46 degrees Celsius in the southwest. In neighboring Portugal, residents and tourists in Lisbon sweltered under 40 degrees on Monday. And countries across Europe are expecting record temperatures in the coming days. In France, an unprecedented 84 out of 96 mainland regions have been placed on the orange heat alert,
104 degrees.
Second highest. Tourists queuing at the Eiffel Tower were sprayed with water as they waited to go up the famous tourist attraction.
That's cool.
This looks like
Six Flags or something.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I went to Disney about a year and a half ago with my kids for the first time. Oh my
really?
God, it was dreadful. It was in July. It was like, it was this time last year.
Yeah.
Right,
like a year ago.
Oh my
Okay.
God, it was horrible. It was like 107.
And it always seems like the sun, like there's nothing to block the sun, so it's like and like the whole time it's like beaming the whole time. No matter where you go, it's just like running after you.
Kellen, what's up, my friend? How you doing?
115 degrees. What's up, Kellen?
How
Yeah,
you doing?
that's crazy. Yeah, it's been hot. It's been hot this year for real. We had such bad heat wave. I kept getting alerts from Con Edison telling me, don't, your lights might go out. 900 with Oh,
We need to have Vash
appreciate the
bald.
support.
I want to see the bald Vash. We have to do this.
Oh, so he's like, it's gonna be all the way down. Did he say shave, or did he say cut?
No, he's gonna shave his head bald.
Oh my gosh, you got to save the hair too, though, like a little pony.
Absolutely.
Is that weird?
Well, yeah. So I mean, it's hot there. It's hot here. Like, what else is new? It's July.
It's hot. Yeah, it used to be like in August, like mid-August is when you get that sweltering, like uncomfortable heat, and you're just like, all right, I'm done. Where's fall?
Mhm.
But I feel like it's just like everything's kind of shifting forward a little bit. Like
It
the
is.
seasons. Yeah.
See, the thing is, because of course everybody's talking about climate change, global warming, all this other stuff. I think, because here's the thing: you cannot change Mother Nature. You can't. Like
just
the
stop.
the Earth is going to do what the Earth is going to do, right?
That's right.
And I think we're going into a phase where we're just going to have 300 years of hot summers.
It's pot. Like, listen, that's the thing too. Like, another thing is like they use a truth to push a racket. It's like, yeah, climate changes. We know this. Just look in history. Climate does change. We've been in a defrosting mode since the last ice age. So it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. It just makes sense. But, they'll use that and be like, give us trillions of dollars. We'll fix it.
We'll fix it. We'll just give it to all the other countries.
And you're making it worse, I feel. So just stop.
You get climate change money. You get climate change money. We all get climate change money.
I've seen something about that with Oprah giving away all those cars that people didn't know that they had to pay the taxes or something, and they weren't allowed to give it back, and it was like $6,000 or $7,000 in taxes for these cars. I don't know if those numbers are correct, but that I was like, that's messed up. And then you see her, and it's just like the evil laugh. It's like giving everybody a car.
Oh man. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, these are some of the stories that we missed throughout the week because there was a lot of stuff going on with Epstein, of course. And I didn't want to start bringing up that old story again. But of course, Pam Bondi now is thinking about going in and releasing all the court documents.
Yeah, I think she put an official petition in for it today. I think it was like maybe a couple hours ago, where it was posted.
Right. That's going to be interesting because, I mean, I wonder what's in those court documents. Is this little black book that everybody's been raving about? Are we finally going to get some answers? Because I mean, I could sit here and talk about it all day, but it's the same talking points in every single show, on every single post that I've seen. Everybody thinks that they have some new revelation, which you don't.
I'm just like meditating, waiting and hoping at this point. Because like, what else are you going to do? I have to go to work tomorrow. Well, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, I
got shit to do today.
Yeah, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm pissed about it. Yeah, I want to see like what's going on. I want the bad people to go behind bars. Yes, absolutely. But like, what are we gonna do? All we can do is hope that the people we elected, everybody that's in place, is trying to do whatever they can. Maybe there's a lot about it that we don't know. We don't understand. Maybe things are encrypted, just on like a little chip somewhere. Maybe it's not an actual like physical leather black book. Maybe it's something else, like we don't know. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, how's about we get into some Federalist Papers?
Yeah.
Yes. Because what is it? 85 essays, 3 authors, 1 goal to convince this nation. Because before Twitter, Threads, and cable news, America had they had the Federalist Papers. That's what they had. Newspapers and such. But what were they really trying to say? And do they still matter today in today's society? Which I think now more than ever, they matter. All right. So
Yeah.
let's find out. Constitutional Corner, Federalist Papers, the blueprint, the debate, the legacy. All right, so let's go over. I found this guy, all right, and his name is Helmer's History on YouTube, and he really does a really good explanation on some of this stuff, because I'm going to be honest, I had no idea. Like, I knew somewhat about the Federalist Papers, but like I never really did a deep dive. This is why this episode is so important, because I've always wanted to do this, but I wasn't able to get the people on that I wanted to do it. And of course, they're all like, oh, I got better things to do. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to do it by myself.
Yeah, I want to learn too. Like, I'm really interested. Sometimes, I need to, like, I'll study it for a while. I'll try to pick Brian's brain, our Mr. Constitution. I try to pick his brain a little bit. But I have to digest it, process it, and then probably try to learn it again. Like, it's not easy to figure out all the different ins and outs of things, especially when you're reading some of these documents. Exactly. And if you're reading like the actual ones and the way that they spoke, you're just like, reading this in like dictionary, and then like, all right, wait, okay, this is what they're saying. Okay, now continue. But
exactly. But yeah, so we're going to go over, what are the Federalist Papers, the historical context, the post-revolution, articles of Confederation failure, and of course, the Constitutional Convention of 1787. All right, because these are important things that we must understand before we go in. So, without further ado, let's talk about the Federalist versus Anti-Federalist debate first. All right,
Anti-Fed, the OG.
Let's see what they have to say.
Well, hey there, and welcome back to Heimler's History. In this video, we're continuing to look at the foundational documents for AP government, and that means it's time to talk about Federalist number 10. So if you're ready to get them brain cows milked, violence of faction style, well, then let's get to it. So since this is our first document from the Federalist Papers, let me give you a quick introduction to what this series of essays was. During the ratification debates over the new Constitution, John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, and James Madison, who represented the Federalists, who were very much in favor of the new Constitution, published essays in a New York newspaper in order to convince the public to ratify. In doing so, they addressed the most common objections to this new form of government and gave a sense of how the nation would work under this new Constitution. Okay, so Federalist 10 is James Madison's attempt to answer the following question: how will the new Constitution protect the liberty of citizens against the tyranny of the majority? Now remember, the framers of the Constitution were emphatically not fans of pure democracy, and in this case, it's because in a pure democracy, the majority will always win out over the minority, and thus there is no protection for minority views. And by the way, when I say minority here, I'm not talking about ethnic minorities, but rather a smaller number of citizens, like the opposite of majority. So Madison comes out of the gates talking about the dangers of factions, and that is a key word you need to associate with Federalist 10. He says, among the numerous advantages promised by a well-constructed union, none deserves to be more accurately developed than its tendency to break and control the violence of faction. So factions are such a threat to liberty that Madison uses the word violence to describe their actions. Now, what does Madison mean by the word faction? Well, he goes on to define it. By a faction, I understand a number of citizens, whether amounting to a majority or a minority of the whole, who are united and actuated by some common impulse of passion or of interest adverse to the rights of other citizens or to the permanent and aggregate interests of the community. In other words, a faction is a group of citizens whose desire is to dominate government so that they might impose their own interests on the whole society. And to Madison,
with guns,
this is a great danger. Now, the Anti-Federalist would not agree with Madison's solution, and we'll see that in the video on Brutus 1. But for now, what is Madison's solution to the violence of faction? Well, he proposes two possible solutions. There are two methods of curing the mischiefs of faction. The one by removing its causes, and the other by controlling its effects. So the two options available are: one, stop the factions from ever forming, and two, let them try to form and then limit their power.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. So stop them from forming and then limit their power.
I mean, you have the right to assembly, so that's got that. So what's supposed to counteract that?
Not exactly sure, but it's not working nowadays, because we have two very giant parties versus 50, 60 years ago, or I think we had four, but that was kind of like the tail end of if you really think about it, there's all these different generations and generational gaps of people, right? So in 1960, you still had people that were born in the 1800s, right? So they lived in a completely different time period.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you had the Industrial Revolution, then you've got cars, and then, like the civil rights, like a bunch of things happened that changed the times, right? Women were able to vote, black people were able to vote, and it just changed it changed the course of history.
Very true.
So it's really difficult to think about, like, why are we where we're at today versus where we are back then.
Right.
All right, let's see what
He says that if we're going with number 1 to remove the causes of factions, that is a terrible option. Why? Because that will necessarily destroy liberty. It could never be more truly said than of the first remedy that it was worse than the disease. Liberty is to faction what air is to fire, an ailment without which it instantly expires. But it could not be less folly to abolish liberty, which is essential to political life because it nourishes faction, than it would be to wish the annihilation of air, which is essential to animal life because it imparts to fire its destructive agency.
Now, I wish some people would understand that. This is back in the 1700s.
I mean, they were spitting that game. I'm sorry. I all respect to our founders and the framers, but like the people don't talk like that. I mean, that was pure poetry. I mean, and it was so real what he said. Like, it's just a fine line.
I need to make a rap song out of that.
Like, really? I mean, that was just beautiful. Can we just take a second? That it's just like, you have people's liberty, so we got to make sure that that's intact. And but the ability to gather is just as important to people as air. You can't take that away because you're worried about whatever they're going to say is going to stoke a fire.
Because then you'll get China.
Yeah, right. It's like you have to roll with it and figure it out as it happens. Like, if something is getting a little out of hand, then you figure it out at that moment, but you can't just stop it because of fear.
Absolutely.
Conversation. Yeah, it's so
Absolutely.
cool.
So we're talking about the key Federalist Papers, right? So that was Madison in Federalist 10. Now, the next important one is Madison 51. So let's see what they have to say about that. Whoops.
Hey there, welcome back to Heimler's History. In this video, we're continuing to look at the required foundational documents for AP government. And that means it's time to talk about Federalist 51. So if you're ready to get that brain cow's milk separation of power style, well, let's get to it. So right out of the gate, let's begin with the central and most famous passage in this essay written by James Madison. What is government itself but the greatest of all reflections on human nature? If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. So here you get a real sense of Madison's opinion of humankind. Like, if people were angels, we wouldn't even need a government. Everybody would just act right. But people are not angels. In Madison's estimation, human beings are a lot less like angels and more like selfish, sentient turds dressed up in clothes. So in light of that, he
wow, he actually
government,
said that.
And that government is there to protect the liberty of the people. And so supposing we agree on that, the next question is, how do we create a government that both has the power to protect liberty while at the same time does not have enough power to destroy liberty? Madison says it this way: in framing a government which is to be administered by men over men, the great difficulty lies in this: you must first enable the government to control the governed, and in the next place oblige it to control itself.
You're right.
I think that should be the other way around.
Oblige it. Would you oblige to control yourself, please?
Like, well, here's the thing. Like power is power, right? And as soon as somebody gets a hold of it is. And once somebody gets a hold of that power, what happens? Then they want more. And then, because once you put a ceiling on it, they try to figure out ways to get around it, which is sort of like what our government is right now.
I mean, everybody does that. Even, with government programs, when they try to wiggle their way around.
Not
everybody does that.
Not even that. But I'm talking about like the rich and powerful. Like, let's say somebody that makes $10 an hour gets a $300 speeding ticket, and somebody who's, I don't know, that makes $15 million a year gets a $300 speeding ticket. what's he going to do? He's got a lawyer already that he pays off to sit there and just say, hey, make this go away.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He makes it go away. Person making $10 an hour can't do that. So that's why I talk about the power dynamics.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to limit that, because if in a free society we vote who we want to be in as our representatives, as president. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to choose who our justices are, but
that's why term limits are so important. And I'm like, we cannot have it where they vote on their own on that, whether or not they're going to have term limits and what that looks like. We can't. How is they are always going to vote no?
Yeah, exactly. And
That's real when it comes to humans who fight. Yeah. Yeah.
No, he's absolutely right.
You break the facade. It's very true. And that's why they keep us so distracted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And with different, I mean, you can say psyop, you can say,
Psyop's like my favorite word. I swear, that's like the most powerful thing. I know. I feel like everybody just has it on the tip of their tongue. But I swear, like, so many times when I'm like looking at something, reading an article, checking out like the scene, what's going on, whatever, it's like, psyop. Like, it happens so many times more than it doesn't.
I have to bite my tongue like 18 times a day when it comes to that. All right, let's continue.
So what's the answer? How do you create a government that is both powerful and yet not too powerful? Madison's answer: the separation of powers and checks and balances. And this manner of restricting power cannot be imposed upon the branches of government externally. Rather, the defect must be supplied by so contriving the interior structure of the government as that its several constituent parts may, by their mutual relations, be the means of keeping each other in their proper places. So the different branches of government must be created in such a way that they balance and check each other's power. So how would such a government look? Well, first, Madison says, it is evident that each department should have a will of its own and consequently should be so constituted that the members of each should have as little agency as possible in the appointment of the members of the others. He says each branch needs as much power independent of the others as possible so they can't go around messing in each other's business, and that power needs to be basically equal between the three branches. But there is an objection here. If you look at the Constitution, it's pretty clear that a disproportionate amount of power is put into the hands of the legislative branch, which is to say the Congress. And look, that's exactly as it should be, since it's Congress which directly represents the voice of the people. So if we're wanting to keep things equal power-wise, what are you going to do to this beefy legislature over here? You're going to have to divide that power too. The remedy for this inconveniency is to divide the legislature into different branches and to render them by different modes of election and different principles of action as little connected with each other as the nature of their common functions and their common dependence on society will admit. So how do we keep the legislature from having too much power? You divide its power into two, which is exactly what the Constitution did. Congress is divided into a bicameral legislature, which is composed both of the House and the Senate, each of which holds a portion of the legislative power. And if your heart is already beating fast at all that subdivision of power, well then Madison goes even further and keeps chopping. In the compound Republic of America, the power surrendered by the people is first divided between two distinct governments, and then the portion allotted to each subdivided among distinct and separate departments. So not only is the federal government's power divided among the branches, power is then further divided between the national government and the state governments, which is a system of governance called federalism. So with power divided and apportioned to so many different actors, liberty will necessarily be upheld, even though the Constitution is placing more power in the hands of the federal.
You see that a lot now, because you've got a lot of the blue states, and the red, I mean, there's more red states than there are blue states, but there's more people in the blue states than there are in the red.
Right. And that's why they're constantly yelling to get rid of the Electoral College.
No, I was literally about to say that. I was literally about to say that. Because what they don't realize is that by getting rid of the Electoral College, you essentially get rid of the Senate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in old school America.
Like the need and use of it.
Yeah, because the need and use originally was that the I mean, I'm pretty sure that the audience is going to recorrect me as hard as possible if I get this wrong. So let me see here. So I believe that originally it was the governors that chose the Senate because they were supposed to represent the state, whereas the House represented the people. And then that's how you kind of came up with, different laws, rules, regulations, ideas, and things like that. And then you come up with a common consensus. And boom, that's how it goes out the law. But at some point in the 1900s, that changed, and now it's basically 435 House members and 100 House members now. So it doesn't really make any sense. But the Senate still has a lot of power because they're the ones that have the ability to subpoena people in. Well, I mean, I guess all of Congress can do that, but also they're the ones that get to choose,
confirm
different parts of the government, right? So that's a
Yeah,
lot
and,
of power.
Oh yeah, and the House is essentially they have control of the purse. Like they have control of the money. So in theory, because if it gets passed and goes to the Senate, there's always some kind of like change or edit that's made, then it goes back, and then the people in the House are going, all right, I just want to go home, so they're like, fine, so it's like you push back a little enough, you really kind of surrender what you originally wanted. So it's good to have both houses, and that's why hopefully we get a lot done,
Exactly.
now while we have it.
Now, the third and final one, which was done by Hamilton, which is Federalist 78, which is the judicial review and the life tenure of judges. All right. So let's see what he has to say about that.
Well, hey there, and welcome back to Heimlich History. In this video, we're going to look at another one of your required documents for AP government, namely Federalist 78. So if you're ready to give me a lifetime appointment to milk your brain cows, well, then let's get to it. Now, the Federalist Papers were, of course, written to argue for the ratification of the newly drafted Constitution. And Federalist 78, written by our boy Alexander Hamilton, is all about the judicial branch of the new federal government outlined in the Constitution. Now, he begins by acknowledging that since there was no federal court system under the Articles of Confederation, which was patently a hot mess, nobody really disagreed that America needed this new judicial institution. The only real argument is over how and for how long justices will be appointed and what kind of power the judicial branch should have. So let's start with how judges will be appointed to the federal courts and for how long. So federal judges are appointed by the president according to Article 3 of the Constitution. And as to the length of their term, Hamilton says, according to the plan of the convention, all judges who may be appointed to the United States are to hold their offices during good behavior. So that means as long as federal judges behave, they will hold their offices for life. Now, that seemed awfully...
As long as they behaved. Well, if you took the how judges behaved in the last 10 years versus the previous 240, oh my goodness.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they understand how to manipulate interpretation. So you have things said a certain way, and then they'll go, yeah, but this is the way it really should be looked at, and this is what they're actually saying, and it really falls under this umbrella, and and that's again power. If you get drunk on power and you figure out a way to say.
Not just that, but there's something that I thought about a couple months ago, and that is new language, right? And not just new language, but new words, where you sit back and you say, okay, how can I get around this? I can't get around it with the current word structures. So let's create a new word to be able to find a loophole to get in between.
Future persons. That was something huge.
Not even that, but like you create a new word that basically doesn't fit on either side, and say, oh, well, I guess you really didn't set it up that way. So now we can use this word over and over and over again to get through the cracks of all these laws. And then
whenever it applies. Yeah. Whenever that word pops up, you can say it's this. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's continue.
Suspect anti-federalists who are arguing against the ratification of the Constitution. So you're saying that the people don't elect these judges and the people can't replace these judges in elections because they have life tenure? I say, but Hamilton argued that lifetime appointments were a necessity to keep this branch of government as independent as possible. He says, if then the courts of justice are to be considered as the bulwarks of a limited constitution against legislative encroachments, this consideration will afford a strong argument for the permanent tenure tenure of judicial offices, since nothing will contribute so much as this to that independent spirit in the judges, which must be essential to the faithful performance of so arduous a duty. Do you remember Madison's argument from Federalist 51 that in order for this new government to work, each of the three branches had to operate as independently as possible? Well, that's essentially what Hamilton is arguing here for the judicial branch. Lifetime appointments make it possible for judges to rule with impartiality and not have to worry about pleasing the people for the sake of re-election.
Okay, so which is true, but the problems don't come from within the branch necessarily. It comes from outside the branch of the people that appoint them in.
Right.
Because this created a problem with the presidential biases that we saw in the last 50 years. On top of that, you've got quid pro quos. That becomes an issue. Judges not born in the U.S. I talked about the expansion of the dictionary and words that are approved, and this is the reason why we have to go by historical context.
When you start poking holes in something, everything just starts falling apart,
Right. And when you look at things like 2A, and you're wondering, okay, well, why exactly all these things getting reversed? Well, it's because they have to look at the historical context. What did they think back then? Not what do you think now?
Right.
That's completely different. They set these rules in place for a reason.
Yeah, and now more than ever do we need to protect ourselves. So if anything, it's it makes more sense to keep it the way it is and the way it was supposed to be from the beginning. But yeah, I understand that. It sounds crazy too, like when you first hear it, and I'm like, like, is he gonna convince me about it? I mean, he didn't say a whole lot, but when you think of somebody getting, all they got to do, imagine you like regular job, right? All you got to do is look cute at the interview, make sure that you're answering everything correctly, make sure, whatever's on your resume, whatever your track record is, it's clean up until this point. And as soon as you get in, that's it, you're in. And then you can, behave however you want, within reason.
Yeah.
Like that just, it could create a monster. But I also understand what he's saying about like where if you're worrying about pleasing a mob of people versus another mob of people, it might just subconsciously it'll put something in your head. So it's better to just interpret the law as is and just keep it rolling.
But I think a lot of things changed once Thomas was brought in. Because remember he had the Kavanaugh issue.
Oh yeah.
Back then, and I still remember this. I was 7 years old when he was brought in as a justice. And wasn't that under Clinton?
I don't know when Justice.
It was 93, I think. Man, he's been a justice for that long.
93, then it's definitely Clinton. No, it's George W. Bush. 91.
91, George H.W. Bush.
Judge H.W. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So 91. That's 2 extra years. What is it? So he's been 35 years, 34 years.
I remember during like the when it was rolling up into the 2024 elections, and they're like, oh, remember Biden was giving him such a hard time to get in. This is your guy that's supposed to be. I remember that he was like grilling him and asking him all crazy types of questions. But yeah. I mean, we are lucky. I mean, it does kind of piss me off. I say this a lot, like when you see like the votes, and it's always like the same thing, and it's always like the same people voting the same way, and it's like, I may just be dumb for asking this, but like, aren't you supposed to just be interpreting the law, like as it is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, shouldn't there just be like somewhat of a clean consensus about what they're saying here? I don't. And if it applies, that's
why Kentanji is in trouble right now. Because
she went too far.
Well, it's not even
her
that.
Own...
What she basically said was there are no columns of government, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like every other justice on the court agreed except for you. And that's a problem, right? Because we get a lot of 6-3, but you don't realize there's been a couple of like unanimous decisions. There's been a lot of 5-4, 4-5s. Like there's been it's just all the things that really matter. But again, you have to keep consistency, right? And that's
the way you're interpreting things.
Yeah, the way you're interpreting things, you have to have consistency.
Right.
Right. And not just in what you're doing now as a Supreme Court justice, but with all the other cases that you've done in your past. Right? Because once you start veering off in another direction, once you become a justice, then now there's grounds for you to be investigated. There's grounds for you to be dismissed. There's grounds for you to be removed just because of those things. This is why when the Senate does their hearings or their confirmation hearings, this is why they're so tough on it. And you know what? I don't care what side you're on. Be tough. That's fine. I'm okay with that because I want the right person for the job.
Right. This is a huge position. No, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're gonna be there for their entire lives, either until they retire or until they die.
And in a situation like we're in right now, everything is getting kicked up to the Supreme Court. So it's like, imagine if we didn't like care who was getting thrown in there, like even just from from the Republican side. Like it's important. It's important to make sure these people need to know the Constitution inside out. They need to know the law inside out. They need to be able to pull precedents, a lot of the times out of the top of their head, and make sure they understand it. I can't do that. That's why I'm not trying to be a Supreme Court judge, like justice. But you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be that person.
Exactly.
And if you don't even just understand the natural framework of this country and why things are the way that they are, and talking about the Federalist Papers and how they led to, the Constitution being ratified, it's like, then like you said, we have a problem. We have a problem with this person. They're obviously either too dumb to realize where they are in the weeds, or they're trying to do something to change the trajectory of this country. Either way, you're out. It's like in Casino in the movie. It's like either you're too dumb to realize, or you're not, or you're in on it. Either way, you're out.
Exactly. All right, well, let's finish this one up.
Additionally, lifetime appointments serve a practical function as well. Hamilton says, think about the whole mountain of precedents that a federal judge will be responsible for knowing. If you change judges out at any span of time, the amount of learning that must be done will make the office itself prohibitive, and that's a problem because a temporary duration in office, which would naturally discourage such characters from quitting a lucrative line of law practice to accept a seat on the bench, would have the tendency to throw the administration of justice into hands less able and less well qualified to conduct it with utility and dignity. So that's why, according to Hamilton, lifetime appointments are necessary for the judiciary. He then goes on to talk about the scope and limits of power of the judicial branch. The duty of federal judges, he says, must be to declare all acts contrary to the manifest tenor of the Constitution void. The word for this power of the judicial branch is judicial review. The court is responsible for considering laws passed by Congress and making sure that they are in line with the Constitution. If the court finds that they are not and rules in such a manner, then the offending laws are considered null and void. Now, Hamilton's detractors argued that such power would make the judicial branch more powerful than the legislative branch, which represented the people. And that's what it sounds like, right? Like if the federal courts can overturn a law passed by the legislature, then it sounds like the judiciary has more power. But Hamilton disagrees. There is no position which depends on clearer principles than that every act of a delegated authority, contrary to the tenor of the commission under which it is exercised, is void. No legislative act, therefore, contrary to the Constitution, can be valid. In other words, if the legislature passes a law which violates the Constitution, it is already null and void because no unconstitutional law can be binding on a people governed by the Constitution. In that way, the courts were designed to be an intermediate body between the people and the legislature in order, among other things, to keep the legislature within the limits assigned to their authority. And then he goes on to explain why the scenario does not give the judicial branch undue power. Nor does this conclusion by any means suppose a superiority of the judicial to the legislative power. It only supposes that the power of the people is superior to both, and that where the will of the legislature declared in its statute stands in opposition to that of the people declared in the Constitution, the judges ought to be governed by the latter rather than the former.
Right. And what this also Oops, sorry, jumped myself off. Wrong button. All right. So what this also means, you have to remember, if they don't like it, if they don't like the decision that they made, or if they think that the judicial system has failed them, they can make a constitutional amendment. And they can do that two ways. They can do that through Congress, through congressional authority, or they can do that through state authority. Right. So I think in Congress it's 60%, right? No, 67. It's 2/3. So it's you have to have a super majority.
Okay. Right.
In order to have
thank God for that.
In order to make a constitutional amendment. And if Congress doesn't, I believe it's 3/4 of the states, which is 38 states.
So they just want to make sure it's like the most of everybody. So that makes sense, which is good.
Yeah, so there's two different ways that you can make that change. And once you make that change, what do you think the Supreme Court's just going to come in and be like, okay, no, I can make it null and void? No, you can't. Because because a majority of the representatives of the people already made that decision for you.
Checks and balances.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why didn't they impose the term limits on Congress if they were saying, or not term limits? That's not what I meant. Okay, if they're arguing for the judges, right? That the judges need to have a lifetime appointment so that way they don't go back and kind of mingle with the people and it changes their ideas of like how things are supposed to work according to the Constitution and everything. Why wouldn't you say that everybody, not that I'd want it, say that everybody in Congress would have a lifetime appointment then, even though a lot of them pretty much do? And then why don't give them term limits if you're not going to do that?
Because then the people don't have proper representation, right? You have to be able to say, okay, I made this decision on this person and they're not doing the job correctly. So therefore, I need to replace them with someone else in order to fulfill the obligations undue to me as the people, because it's for the people, by the people, Eagle.
Yeah, all of that power jazz. Yep. All right. So yeah, I guess so. I just feel like I don't know how we're gonna get out of that, where we have like these people like Pelosi and Lindsey Graham, and I don't know how we're gonna get away from these people. I don't know. I mean, push the thing about like what's going on with the elections and stuff aside. Like, at what point do you say this person? Like, are they gonna even care to say that this person there's something not fully upstairs anymore and they can't serve? Like, what, like, is that the checks and balances are just like falling so hard because they all kind of protect themselves once they get into that power and they have their hands in everything?
Well, you have to remember that not everybody has the same amount of power, which is an odd thing to say, right? Because when you look at how Congress is currently constructed, I mean, they're all supposed to have equal votes, equal everything. But then again, there are powers that be in certain groups of people that create factions. Remember, they talked about factions earlier.
Yes.
They create factions in which it's like, okay, if you're in this group, then we're going to help you on other things outside to keep
committees
you in,
and whatnot,
and committees and like all this other stuff. But if you don't, then we're not going to help you. You're going to be on your own, and good luck having us pass what you need on your end, which is not the way that it's supposed to be. Right. But I almost see this as, it's almost like high school, because I saw this in high school when I came in to vote for like my class president and vice president, and how, but back then they talked about, this is what I would do to help you versus, well, I don't know how I would help you, but this person won't.
Right. And and they hold the loyalty that you're trying to give back to your constituents, in theory. I mean, not everybody is trying to do that, but the ones that are, you're holding that over their heads. You're holding them hostage. It's a hot mess. But that's the thing, like, everything is corruptible. It's not a perfect system. It's what we got. And for a long time, it was working. Basically people aren't adhering to what's in those pages is the
Well,
problem.
not only that, but they also didn't have, you know, all these lobbyists coming in and paying money to make certain things happen.
But they see
Right.
that's the thing. I think they need to take like money, like maybe not totally out of the equation. I don't know how reasonable that is, but they really need to figure out a way to take like raising money and all of that stuff out of campaigns. They have to. There's no way we're going to be able to burst this bubble if they don't.
That's going to take longer than we have years left on this earth to do, because you already have outside influence, you know, coming in. You know, when you look at everything that happened with the, you know, Russiagate, which by the way, I have that episode on Rumble, so you guys should go back and check it out. We had a 3-part series on Russiagate where we uncovered a lot of stuff before everybody else started talking about this. Right. So and then you have people like Bill Gates, George Soros, like having this outside pressure. It's like, I can't do anything here, but what I can do is I can go outside and create the pressure from out there.
And you have like foreign entities, like you saying, like these people, but also other people that aren't so famous. I forgot what this guy's name was, but there was like a whole trial about it where I think like Leonardo DiCaprio had to testify, and there was like some guy either from China or, you know, one of those areas over there, and he was like funneling money to other people so that way he can put it into election campaigns.
I figured I'd give Rumble some love over here.
Yeah. Hey,
for those
Rumble.
of you that are joining us from Timcast IRL, thank you very much. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Go to riseofmiddleamerica.com. That's where you can find us. You can find all of our socials, our Discord, everything there. I know Kellen's in there somewhere, so
he's in the mix.
one that he's the one that set this up for us. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, so what about the constitutional application? All right, because I have another video here. I'm trying to remember what this is about, but this is about the Anti-Federalist debate.
Okay.
All right, so let's figure that out real quick.
Yeah.
No, stop it.
Oh man, I should have did the Vogue thing, like strike a pose.
Oh, strike.
I missed the opportunity. Damn it.
Right.
All right, good.
You had it, then you failed. Stop. Here we go.
I think we have a tendency to puff up the Federalists and deflate or ignore the Anti-Federalists, and that is absolutely a mistake. Because if the Federalists had their political and intellectual heavyweights like George Washington and James Madison, the Anti-Federalists weren't a bunch of intellectual and political slouches. They had some real heavyweights of their own. So in Virginia, they had George Mason, Patrick Henry, Richard Henry Lee. In Massachusetts, they had Samuel Adams and Mercy Otis Warren. Yep. They had New York's powerful governor, George Clinton. These were real important political figures, and in many cases, really powerful constitutional thinkers. And so the Anti-Federalists were a real challenge, both politically and intellectually, to the Federalists. So we shouldn't give Anti-Federalist ideas short shrift. The Anti-Federalists, their base of support tended to be the opposite of what we found with the Federalists. And so, if we're looking at, who tended to be an Anti-Federalist, farmers more likely to be Anti-Federalists than lawyers and merchants. Anti-Federalists, state by state, tended to have more support in the West, and so outside of the cities, rather than in the eastern part of states. And so again, the Anti-Federalist base of support more in rural areas than in towns and cities. And again, the Anti-Federalists included some really amazing constitutional thinkers. One of them was someone I already mentioned, Mercy Otis Warren of Massachusetts. She was a poet, an important historian, a great patriot during the American Revolution. And she wrote her observations on a new constitution under the pen name, A Columbian Patriot. If the Federalists have Publius, this fake name of someone writing the Federalist Papers, Publius being James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay, the Anti-Federalists had some amazing made-up named writers as well. People like Brutus, Federal Farmer, Sentinel. So a lot of really great thinkers on the Anti-Federalist side too. Last thing I'll say about the Anti-Federalists is their ideas were also powerful. They're ones that if you go back and, if you read something like Brutus's essays, so these important Anti-Federalist essays, you'll hear a lot of what Brutus says resonates with what we still debate today in America. Because in many ways, the battle over ratification was all about the debate over where do you place political power in the United States. Doesn't that sound familiar? It's the stuff we still debate in our politics and our constitutional politics today. So a lot of these debates are big debates over federalism. How much power do you give to the national government? How much power do you give to the state and local governments? And for the Anti-Federalists, their big concern was that the new U.S. Constitution, that was going to give too much power to the national government and take away too much power from the state and local governments, the governments that the Anti-Federalists thought were closest to the people.
I mean, he's not wrong there.
No, the way he kind of just like put it all together in a little bow there, I'm just like, damn, yeah.
No, but that's the thing. And we were talking about the Electoral College and the Senate, and how the Senate has been absolutely neutered, because now the interests of the Senate are not for the states, is now for the federal government. Right. So now we have too much interest in the federal government as far as like what the needs are individually for each state, that now you can't pass anything. You can't pass anything for individual states because, you're not thinking about it on a local level or a state level. You're thinking about it on a national level.
Right. And like what you said before, where you have you have all these representatives, that get elected into the House, and they get there, they're so gung-ho about it. They have all these ideas. They talk to the people during their campaign. They know what their people want. They get to Washington, and then they're like, oh, well, you gotta join up with this person. You gotta join up with that person if you want to get your stuff heard. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Maybe we're gonna bring it up. Like crazy.
That's funny.
But yeah, so it's like everything just keeps getting, like you said, neutered, watered down, like separated from the people. Like at what point do we say, like, because they've made it a thing where you have to play politics, and if you're going to elect anybody that to Washington, they have to know how to play politics in order to get through everything. But like, why? Like, understanding the law and how things work is one thing, but saying like you gotta kind of like manipulate the the balls in the air and stuff like that, and move things around and do all this like shady stuff in order to get things done. And then, get things done is another thing. Is like how often that they're actually doing something, or, in session, and then all these projects, all these things that people go there trying to get passed for the people in their state, they end up not able to get it done. And they finally do. They don't have the votes or whatever. And, it's just all waste. I don't know. I'm rambling, but it's just like, I feel like it's just crazy. Like, it's supposed to be us. It's supposed to be government, yes, but it's also supposed to be us, and it's become so much less us, and it really sucks.
Right. So that brings me to my next point, which is constitutional application, right? Do the Federalist Papers still matter? All right. So let's talk about some things in the Supreme Court, right? Because in the final days of John Adams' term, he appointed a number of judges called the Midnight Judges. Right, which is under the Judiciary Act of 1801. William Marbury was one of those appointees, but when Thomas Jefferson took office, his Secretary of State, James Madison, at the time, yes, refused to deliver Marbury's official commission. Marbury asked the Supreme Court to force Madison to deliver this commission using a legal tool called a writ of mandamus, right? And the court ruled that while Marbury had a right to his commission, the court did not have the authority to issue the writ, because the law that gave the Supreme Court that power, which is a section of the Judiciary Act of 1789, was unconstitutional. Right? So this is the first time the Supreme Court declared a law that was passed by Congress unconstitutional, and it set the precedent that the judiciary had a final say on what the Constitution means, a huge expansion in the court's power. All right. So let's go over some examples. So like McCulloch versus Maryland in federalism, right? So Congress had established the second bank of the United States, and the branch was opened in Maryland, but the state of Maryland didn't like that there was a federal bank operating in its territory, because back then it was territories, it wasn't states.
Right.
So imposed a tax on the bank. Now, James McCulloch, he was a cashier at the Baltimore branch. He refused to pay the tax, so it begged the question: one, did Congress have the authority to establish the bank? And two, did Maryland have the power to tax a federal institution? So,
state sovereignty versus the big arm of the government.
Exactly. So the ruling, obviously, so yes, Congress could establish a bank, even though the Constitution doesn't explicitly say so, because of the necessary and proper clause of Article 1, Section 8, which gives Congress flexibility to carry out its power. But Maryland could not tax the bank because, if you guys know, Chief Justice John Marshall, very famous, he wrote that the power to tax involves the power to destroy, and the states can't interfere with federal institutions.
Can we say that again for the people in the back?
Maryland could not tax the bank.
Yeah.
Because the power to tax involves the power to destroy.
Just saying.
Oh boy.
Just saying. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
So all those pro IRS people, get out of here!
Get out of here! Oh no, we lost one person.
Yeah. No,
No.
what it did was it confirmed supremacy, all right, of federal law over the states, based in the supremacy clause. Right. And it expanded the interpretation of congressional power, supporting the idea of implied powers beyond what's explicitly written in the Constitution.
And this is the kind of thing that the Anti-Federalists were probably afraid of. It's like they were getting greased into this and sweet talked into this whole idea of we'll all be together. And, if you flop, the other one kind of takes a little bit, we'll be able to appoint certain programs and things that'll help everybody. And, you can trade off the things that you have for goods and services and whatnot, and, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, oh, that sounds great. All right, fine. We'll do it. And then it's like 10, 15 years later, it's like, see, this is exactly what we were talking about. Yeah.
So that was back then. And then to kind of close this off, of course, we have one of the more famous ones recently, which is the NFIB versus Sebelius. And that's Obamacare.
Oh.
Right. So let's see what happened there. As soon as I stop pressing all the wrong buttons.
Well, I know what Obamacare did to me, but all right.
In NFIB versus Sebelius, Congress had enacted the Affordable Care Act, in which individual persons were required to buy health insurance from a private company. The statute referred to a requirement that people buy health insurance that was enforced by a penalty if they should fail to do so. The question was whether this was within Congress's commerce power. So NFIB versus Sebelius is not really a Commerce Clause case. In the 1940s, the Supreme Court had held that the regulation of the insurance business was part of Congress's commerce power, and that was not at issue in the case. What was at issue in the case is whether it was necessary and proper for Congress to command American citizens to do business with private insurance companies. The real issue in NFIB versus Sebelius was whether making individuals do business with a private company through use of so-called purchase mandates was a proper exercise of federal power. 5 justices agreed with the challengers that this was not a proper exercise of federal power. A requirement that you buy insurance from a private company was an improper exercise of Congress's power under the Necessary and Proper Clause and its Commerce Clause power. But one of those 5 adopted what he called a saving construction to change the requirement to buy health insurance enforced by a penalty into, in effect, an option to either buy insurance or pay a modest and non-coercive tax. This way, it was not a purchase mandate that was upheld. It was an option to buy insurance or pay a non-coercive tax. And Chief Justice Roberts said that if the tax were high enough to become coercive, then that would be a problem. But since it was low enough to not be coercive, then it was simply a tax and could be upheld. He said this was not the natural reading of the statute, but the courts had an obligation to defer to the statute, in his words, if there was a reasonably possible reading of the statute that would be constitutional. Because he concluded that a reasonably possible reading of the statute was an option to buy insurance or pay a non-coercive tax, he could uphold the Affordable Care Act. The biggest misconception of NFIB versus Sebelius is that it upheld the individual insurance mandate as a tax. It did not. It changed the individual insurance mandate into something that was not really a mandate at all. It was an option to buy insurance or pay a modest, non-coercive tax. That's what was upheld in NFIB versus Sebelius.
Thanks. Guys did a bang-up job with that one.
Right.
Like, we won't charge you $300 penalty. We'll put it in a little tax, maybe a fraction of that. You won't even notice it.
Or something like that. I mean, I never signed up for it or whatnot, so I don't really know much about how. I didn't really know much about how that worked.
I tried it once. It was like for me and my husband, they wanted like the best plan. It was like you called somebody kind of like speaking with a broker, and they figured out like, what you would be eligible for. And we were working, but we didn't have access to insurance to our jobs, and we were working, so we couldn't get Medicaid or anything like that. So it was like $700 a month with a $1,500 deductible.
Oh, wow.
I was like, no, we'll just, drink ginger tea and stuff like that. Try to stay healthy.
Or just die.
Yeah. We'll just whatever. Just leave me alone.
We'll just die.
Yeah, right.
That's our other.
Yeah, it was crazy. No, it was so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, we got Biddy for the Supremes. I love it, but so of course, when it came to this, conservative jurists often cite Federalist Papers to support originalism, right? Mm-hmm. But the critics argued that the papers were advocacy tools, not legal texts, even though those papers are part of those papers are what built our Constitution.
Right. They took their inspiration from that, because it's like your campaign for this document, for the official document to get passed. You're saying like, this is kind of like our idea. This is our mission statement. This is what's going to be in it. This is what we're thinking about. And then you put it in there and you clean it up and make it all make sense.
Right. So we got middle ground and then final thoughts. So middle ground, legacy for all, right? So can both the left and the right find value in the Federalist Papers? I think it leans a lot more on one side than the other. But again, this is the reason why I did this episode.
Yeah.
So people understood exactly what was important in those papers and what from those papers were drafted into the Constitution and how they built the structure of the Constitution.
Right.
Right.
I was kind of surprised that John Jay wasn't the one that did the judicial part.
Right. And then, of course, you've got Madison Reviews on factions and modern party politics, which he was right, because there's factions everywhere in D.C. and not just in Congress. You've got them in the FBI, the CIA. You've got them in the education department. You got them on
the street, regular
on
people.
the street. Yeah, exactly.
Like trying to force people to accept, things that have nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then what happens is they start building up power. And then what do they do with that power? Okay, well, we know that ourselves, we can't do anything to force the issue. But what happens when you start paying other people that aren't part of the government start forcing these issues? And you're starting to see those things now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you look at what's happened in California, when you look at the No Kings protests
Mm-hmm. I mean,
No.
yeah, you pay people, but they got everybody set up for it mentally before
Mhm.
they, yeah.
I'll even go as far as to say, what is it? Not it's the Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys, yeah.
Yeah, same thing. I feel like these are all different types of stuff, regardless of where the money's coming from.
Mhm.
Right. So
Yeah, it's like even some when you have these factions, they beget more factions. It's just that natural universe thing that there's always going to be something that's going to try and balance the scale. It's just a natural reaction to things.
Mhm.
But yeah, we got chaos. We got a whole bunch of people that are getting paid to do what they're doing out there, so they don't have to work. A lot of them probably come from money too, I imagine. A lot of these people out here, they're celebrities. Like, we've seen celebrities out there with the megaphones and stuff. The girl from Full House was out there. What's her name? Jodie Sweetin, I think. And they could be out there all day, all night, and just keep pushing this, and it could be like, all right, I don't want to like push back against you, but I kind of want to walk down this street. And it's like, well, yeah, you can walk, and they're in front of you the whole time as you're trying to walk down the street and just disrupting your entire life until you remember with like the Black Lives Matter, they were going by people were sitting outside, and they were like, well, we're not going to give you any peace until you put your fist up in the air. And it's like, that's
pretty much.
It's a lot of these things. It's just like a mess, and they got in everybody's heads, and then also throw money on top, so it makes it even sweeter.
Yeah, and then so to send this off into the sunset, do we acknowledge that the Federalist Papers are foundational, or are they not infallible?
I think they're foundational. I mean, like I was saying, like, I think you have to. I mean, you can't propose this and then do something totally separate. So I think they were really trying to figure it out as well, probably even testing the waters, because they were throwing this stuff out there in newspapers and whatnot to just kind of see the consensus of everybody when they were reading it too. So it probably kind of confirmed for them, like, okay, most of the people are agreeing with what we're putting in here. People are excited about it. They're thinking that this is a good idea. So
right.
They kind of went along with it.
And I want to ask the audience, and just go ahead and write it out in the chat, but which paper speaks to you mostly today, and why? I want to see what you guys have to say about that. And then the last thing we're going to go over is they're both a product of their time and a blueprint for timeless questions about governance, liberty, and law. But what about the internet and how we have technology that have changed a lot of things? All right, because technology didn't just change things in the government, didn't just change things about liberty, law, and governance, but it also changed things about health. It changed things about attention spans, changed things about like a bunch of different things that it's changed, and it made things more streamlined and faster. So now this is why when you look at some of these old laws, you're like, why do we still have that? We've got machines and things that do these things for us.
Oh my gosh, remember your segments where you used to do like Name That Bill? Was it
I might bring that back.
Yeah, was it Name That Bill? That's the one where it's like you have all these bills that are real, and
I give you 3 bills, and there's one real one and 2 fake ones. Yeah.
Those are crazy, because there's so many bills out there that you're just like, what, like not having a donkey in the bathtub, or like you can actually beat your wife in some states, but as long as it's only once or twice a week. Like, all this crazy stuff that's still on the law books. Like, it's like, what? Like,
yeah,
even infidelity is still a crime.
Yeah, there's a law in Florida where I think women can't go fishing. That's still on the books.
I'm going fishing. Catch me if you can. I'll probably trip.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Gotta be quicker than that.
Gotta be quicker. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead.
No. I was just picking one, like, what you say. I don't know what they're saying in the chat, but probably checks and balance. I don't know. I think the factions and dangers of majority rule, I think that's probably the one that's like really hitting us right now, especially with all these people that just like flooded in here and all the ones that are supporting the radical stuff that they're saying.
Yeah. What do we got? Yes. Technically, it changed it all so much. Unreal. I was thinking 10-2 subsidiarily. Aside from the actual Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, I think that the Federalist Papers are among the most important documents. It's the beauty of the Constitution, the Federalist Papers. Non-coercive tax is weird phrasing. Super. Bad ideas come from corruption. The people corrupted, not religion. Let's see. Articles it taught us the important lessons on how to give government such a large and diverse country. Yeah. What do we got here on YouTube? Let's see. Oh, he said I have AI read the news to me.
Nah. I mean, you can use things. You know what it is? It's different for us, like people in our age group too and older, because we had a time where we didn't have the internet.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to grow up with that and kind of balance it out. There's the Gen Z and younger. They had it from birth, so they don't understand what it's like, without it and what you can do without it. And
that's my kids. My kids, I mean, like if they didn't have a tablet on a car ride, there would be problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, I remember when I was a kid and I traveled, especially with like my father, we traveled the Rockies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I looked outside the window. The window and saw all the different monuments and mountains, like all this stuff. Something that you had to.
Like you just knew you were going to be in that hot car, you just listening.
No
to
AC,
music.
windows down,
playing with the cigarette lighter.
Cigarettes.
Just keep pressing the button and waiting for it to pop, and it's like, oh, putting your hand out the window and doing the wave thing. Good times.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Constitutional Corner. All right, so I want to thank Timcast for rating us tonight. Thank all of you guys for joining us.
Yes, thank
you. If you guys like what you see here, I mean, we've got plenty other episodes that you guys can go through and watch. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And check us out at riseofmiddleamerica.com. Let me pull that back up again real quick so you guys can see. Oh my God, look at these.
Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us and chatting with us. All the activity in the chat. It's really beautiful. I love to see it.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week as well. Right up here in the upper right hand corner of the website, that's where we have our Rumble, our YouTube, my X account there. We've got the Discord. You guys can join us there, and then of course we've got all of our episodes here. And then down at the bottom, obviously, you can show your support by going to the Roman Nation Network merch site. You can buy merch from there, or you can go down at the very bottom where there's a PayPal link where you can make a monetary contribution to help us keep the lights on, help us keep us going. And we've got a lot more content coming up. Obviously, I will be out there next week for the Timcast event.
Nice.
Actually, the next 2 weeks I'll be out there.
Yeah, because I was touch and go there for a minute, so they got it all straightened out. Now everything's cool, cat. It's going on.
Yeah, this whole last segment was going to be about that. If they didn't, they were going to get murdered.
Yeah.
Well, not figuratively.
Yeah. No,
right.
But seriously, like, yeah, I think they were talking about today at the end of Timcast, Alex Stein and what's his face there? I'm drawing a blank now. Filibante. They were talking about this, and they were saying how they put it out there, and social media did their thing, and they were calling them, and they're like, "What are you talking about? You can't do this." And supposedly Filibante said something about the owner.
What's up,
kind of like away, came back, and when realized what was going on, they were like, no, absolutely not, and then set everything back up. But apparently, if you had tickets, you have to go back in and get your tickets again, because it kind of like reset everything. So make sure you guys, if you have tickets for that, make sure you go and redo your tickets. for that
Apparently,
match.
I don't need tickets anymore. It came out of Tim's mouth. He was like,
Nice.
"Tickets?" I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll just show up and see how security likes that." But
Right.
yeah, right.
Because the security is real, I heard.
Oh yeah,
Around there.
it
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
is. But yeah, but again, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We are on every Friday. If you guys don't know our lineup, Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. We've got Sunset Rants. That's our news show. On Mondays we have Facts and Sass with you, Biddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Valley
right.
and I.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're working
that's
on
our
that this weekend.
Yeah, that's our true crime show.
Yep.
Love that show. It's very, very popular. Tuesday nights at 10:30, we've got the Drive-In. That's our pop culture show. We talk about music. We talk about movies that are coming out. We go over viral videos that are going out throughout the week. It's a very fun time. That's with T-Bone and Sarah Riz.
Yep.
Can't forget about Valley. Valley does the show with you. And then, of course, starting next week, hopefully next week, will be on Thursday nights. We've got The Fringe, which is our conspiracy show with Vashnik.
I'm excited. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got
I
so
can't
much in that
wait
dome of
for
his.
that.
You guys are gonna be in for a real treat for that.
Yep. And then, of course, Fluffy Hobo on Fridays at 8 o'clock with Fafo Friday. You have I don't know what he does. I mean, he runs that show completely on his own and not independently. He's part of Roman Nation, but he does. I mean, it's like
He's got like a well-oiled machine. Like,
Yeah.
he's figured everything out. Yeah.
we have no idea what he's talking about to that day. And that show is bonkers. So
it's wild.
we've got a whole network of shows coming in here. We got a sports show coming up at the end of the month, and then we got a gaming show coming out next month. Dude, we are exploding right now. So please like, comment, subscribe, and join us. You can join us on Rumble for $5 a month. You can join me at the real Roma _AK on X. You can join me there. And then
if
what
you
do
feel like you can help out, you could definitely join the Discord too. Yeah,
join the Discord.
And we're always in there chilling. So you just come in there, you just look at the VC chats, and you just pop in to say hello. But yeah, you can find me on X, Elizabeth213A. That's basically where I'm at most of the time. I'm on I hang out on TikTok a little bit here and there, post a couple of things. So I'm Elizabeth213 on there, and also on YouTube, same thing. But yeah, another great show. I love doing shows with you. So this was great. I really, really enjoyed this one about the Federalist Papers, and I learned a lot. And the Anti-Federalists, it never occurred to me, like dude was saying. So that was really great to just kind of learn, just kind of the pushback of the ideas that were coming out from these just brilliant individuals from that time, and just listening to the way they put things together. It's just beautiful.
That Kabuki Eye video says, same, can't imagine watching news channels for news now. Yeah, you definitely want to watch this. We got a game called Caption This. If you guys were in the Discord way back when, in the Timcast Discord, you know what Caption This is. So it's back. And basically what we do is we have a channel in our Discord for AI image dump. And you can put in as many images as you want. And every single night, our cast members choose one of those images for the Caption This on those nights for Sunset Rants.
And then you guys come up with funny captions, and then we choose the funniest ones. And
yeah.
we're compiling a whole bunch of them to give like some merch away to the ultimate winners of like the quarter. So we got like the first 4 months that we're gonna go through, and we're gonna choose a few, and then we're gonna see about that's.
I still have it.
One is so good.
It is, and I still have this one, which was signed by Phil Labonte. This is going to be my first one that's going out.
Yes.
All right. So make sure you join us Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. and join us for Caption This. And then we're going to have a championship round where we're going to have one entire day where we're just going to go through Caption This. That's it. Once a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever ends up getting the most votes will win that hat.
Yep. And your caption with the photo and everything becomes a shirt.
Yes.
That you get.
And we make it into a shirt and we send it to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
like a lot of fun things, a lot of big things, a lot of community stuff. You know, we're trying to build something magical here, and AK, you're just like the amazing conductor, just moving us all along. So I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys here. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful Friday night, and I'm excited. I'm excited for things to come.
Again, can't say this enough. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you very much. This was Roman Nation. We are signing out. Biddy, you have a great night. Peace.
Hustle in my veins, no rest, no dream, trying to make a way. Whole team gotta eat. No sleep, gotta keep going. No sleep till the world know it. No sleep till the world know it. No sleep till the world know it. I've been moving like a clock, don't stop, no breaks, no rest, no time to flop. Gotta get it while I'm breathing, never taking a loss. See the pain in my eyes, but the vision stay locked. Ain't nobody finna hand me a thing. Came from the bottom, I rose through the rain. Hustle like I never had a meal on my plate. Now we eating so good that the hunger remains. Fast lane, never slowing my pace. Tell them I was built for the chase. Every night trying to double my worth. Put my name in the sky, make it shake up the earth. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Late nights turn to early moans. Put the work in till the break of dawn. They was sleeping on the kid, now they call my phone. Now the city know my name, I've been putting them on. Ayy, tunnel vision when I step on the field. Gotta keep it real, never sign no deal. Independent, gotta get it, never needed a cosign. When the world told me wait, I was like, no time. Tell them I was built for this. Every verse that I spit got a hit or a risk. Never fold, never quit, let them know I exist. Till they call my name and go, let it shine like this. One shot, one chance, I ain't wasting a second. I've been working through the storms, now the sun stay blessing. Ain't no sleep when you live in a dream. Gotta grind every day for the life unseen. No sleep till the job get done. No sleep, we ain't folding, nah. No sleep, gotta hustle on. No sleep till we number one. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me.